A lot of art is just not being afraid. You just have to get your hands dirty.
My name is Mary Szczesny. I am a fine artist. I'm a painter, among other things, and I've always painted ever since I was a child. It's just something that I've always felt a need to express. My mom is the youngest of 13. Her oldest sister, my Aunt Dot, actually used to sit at the table with me when I was 2 or 3 years old, and we would draw pictures together. And that really got me interested in artwork. The line, the way that the pen felt on the paper, it felt so natural to me. It felt organic to me, that it was who I was. So my father always had this affinity for early Catholic works, sometimes early Byzantine works. He was raised as a Catholic. There were some pictures around the house of the old Byzantine work, and he would hang these pictures from National Geographic down in our basement of portraits that were done 400 years ago. And I always thought it was fascinating that he liked that. Every time I would go down to the basement to get a can of green beans from my mother, I would look at the painting that was on the cabinet that he'd stuck up with tape. And I looked at the brushwork, and then I'd go back upstairs, and then I'd go back down and look at it. I did. And we would go to the library after school, and I would just go to the art section, and I was very mesmerized with the 15th, 16th century religious paintings at the time. I think that had a large influence on me. Even though my dad was a pharmacist, he always had that unique way of looking at things. When I paint, I like to be alone. I like to focus 100%. And I love to have music on, usually jazz, usually soft music. When I'm angry, I listen to Sheryl Crow. When I'm happy, I listen to Sting. There are paintings that I make that you can tell that I'm very happy and I'm serene. And then there's other paintings that you can tell I'm confused and I'm trying to work it out on canvas. There are other paintings where my imagination is taking over. I can go in 1,000 ways. I love to paint with acrylics, chalk, pastel. I love to see what I can do with both of them together. And glitter. Sometimes I use a little drywall in my work to give it texture. So I like to see what happens. It's almost like an experiment. I'm a very visual person. When I see things, I process them and then it comes out, just like a filter. If light comes through a window, it filters through the glass. When I paint, that's what comes through my soul. The color, the light, the emotion, and the flow. I think because of the way that I express myself, my emotions are very dynamic and I do need a filter for them, and this is my filter. It's the way I see the world. I enjoy the process of the paints, the way that they flow on the canvas. The one thing that I really like about my work is it's mine. This is my style, this is my work. And I feel like I'm coming to a place where I know that it's my signature. Some of the artists that I am totally influenced by are Gustave Clement, Claude Monet, Mondrian, Jackson Pollock. When they painted, it was a signature on canvas. It is their signature. For example, you can look at a Jackson Pollock painting and you know it was him. There doesn't need to be a name on it because you know that's him. And that's how I want my paintings to be a signature of me. They're like my children. If I give somebody a piece of my artwork, it's like giving them a piece of me. It's very hard. I know that there was a period of my life I was painting things in groups of 3s. It was very intuitive. I didn't know why. 3 fish, groups of fish that were just moving. I would watch these National Geographic shows. One piece of the water was still with one texture, and that this huge movement of fish could just change everything. The way that it was moving. I wanted to show motion. It was interesting because intuitively, nature was screaming at me. There was something happening, and I was processing it on canvas. I like the way glitter, there's no controlling it, it just falls. I think it kind of represents creativity, freedom. Water is a huge theme for me. I think just because it's such a powerful element. It can transform you without transforming itself. It adapts to every environment. It looks different in light. It's a fascinating subject. It is emotional, definitely. Not all of them, but many of them are. And I think that the viewer can figure out which ones are. It's definitely tempered with all the things that I've learned in college and through all my art teachers. When I was in high school, I was so blessed to have a couple of teachers that saw that I had such an interest. It was a great blessing in my life that they recognized that little bit of talent, that spark that I had for art. When I was in the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, I learned a lot of studio commercial art, mass production. I learned how to do that with the old silk screening processes, the old production lines, and I learned how magazines were made. And when I went on to college, I had my degree in fine arts, and I loved my painting class. My painting teacher, she was from Texas. Her name was Parker, and she was never impressed with anyone's work. She would always push you to do more. And that made me angry, so I did do more. She never said my work was good. She never said it was, she would always find a way to push me a little further, push me a little harder, and I appreciate that. Because she was a magnificent artist. But she would always say, I'm never done, I'm never done. She helped me see things in a different way. Really opened up a palette of color for me that I never knew could exist in a painting. That was very influential. An art teacher I had, her name was Mrs. Longo, and I was so fortunate to have her for private art classes since I was 8 till I was 18. And she would always tell me, art is long and time is short. And that is very true. It takes a long time to make good art. The piece that took me the longest was 3 months. I would constantly go over the layers over and over until I was satisfied. And it's incredible how you can go through so many stages through a painting, and then you draw it out, then you start to translate it, and it's not translating. So it's a process, it's a merging. And it's not a masterpiece until it's a masterpiece. So I feel like an artist's responsibility is to make people aware of moments, of snapshots in time that will take you back. Just like if you heard a song when you were 10 years old and you hear it when you're 50, you are transported back to that period of time. There's snapshots of society, the way you're interacting with people. It's a snapshot of your soul at certain periods of your life. And I do believe that everyone should be tuned into that on some level, whether you write, whether you sing, whether you paint, whether you're a business owner, that you can connect with people. And it's a way of connecting with everyone else through yourself. It's like an eternal circle. It's our responsibility to teach future generations to not be afraid to express themselves. We all need to create. Everything that we do needs expression. We do need to express. That's why I think, people that have a lot of trouble, they're just not expressing what they should. I want to be able to reach out more to the community and encourage kids to paint, people to look a little closer, engage in every moment, enjoy life, not focus on the negative, because every moment is a gift. I like each piece because I feel like I'm progressing in each one. I have to say this piece behind me is my personal favorite. It certainly is. It's so reflective of where I am right now in my life. It's a good place. A huge storm, and these clouds are sweeping over and cleaning it all up. And it's gone now. And it's about to become something beautiful. Clouds are constantly moving, constantly evolving, but they're constantly beautiful. And I want to capture some of that energy for myself. I want to be able to evolve as a human being and still be beautiful in the process.